Now, yesterday with 9/11, okay, and before I get into this, I don't want any of my Christian, biblical philosophy friends, okay, to get upset. This is not a negative comment, but in the last 2 weeks, from my email inbox, okay, from my email inbox to social media the social media that I'm on, I have not, I can't remember in my lifetime ever seeing 2 consecutive weeks of Bible prophecy, 9/11 was an inside job by the government videos, and if these hurricanes don't prove climate change, nothing ever will. I mean, I have witnessed so many people. I mean, it really starts to give you a real view of some of the divisions we have in this country, because in the last 2 weeks, now, like I said, I'm not taking my religious friends to task, and trust me, I'm not. I'm just saying, in the last 2 weeks, my email, my social media is this Bible prophecy, that Bible prophecy. You know, I have to tell you, from the eclipse, from the storms, and then my email is jammed. And yesterday, the people that feel they've done a lot of research and I'm not going against anybody today, except for the climate change people. Those are the only ones I'm really going against. But they feel that 9/11 was an inside job that the government knew about. And yesterday, it kindly upset me a little bit, because we spent more time on social media trying to disprove 9/11 that remembering whoever did it, thousands died. And this country changed. No matter what you think happened on 9/11, no matter how many times you send me videos of the plane going in a certain way, and no matter how many videos you send me of somebody saying, an engineer saying a fuselage does not explode in heat to the temperatures necessary to do this, I understand that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. Okay, I'm not saying, but there was more social media yesterday to disprove, I'm serious, 9/11, than I actually saw that was remembering in a way. I mean, sorry, we did it here. I remember, and it was disheartening to me. Is I think if you don't believe 9/11 was terrorist group, and I believe the Saudis, yeah, all that, but if you don't believe that happened, and you believe the government, our government, staged this, and World Trade Center 7 collapsed at 5:30 in the afternoon, and you think out there you send videos out that you watch the implosion, where you put parallel buildings that have imploded to show that this building imploded. I understand. I just don't think yesterday was today to do it. That's my opinion, because the bottom line is, regardless of what you feel is the truth, and regardless of what the truth is, whatever happened on that day, this country changed, you and I changed, and thousands, not hundreds, thousands of men and women died. And those were real men and women that flung themselves from the tower. So I'll go past that, all right? But I'm not upset with anybody. But the climate change people, accept the climate change. I mean, you know, I don't think we need to relook at what I say yesterday. I said we'll end up with this all being done, right, Richie, because Trump pulled out of the Paris Accords. You watch and see, and you're starting to see the articles out there. Now, I'll get into climate change later. I want to close with that. But yesterday, I want to sincerely apologize to you, the viewers, America, and I feel Hillary Clinton should be in prison. I'm just going to say candid. I feel Hillary Rodham Clinton and Susan Rice should be in prison. I think there's several more, but I do think these two people should be in prison. Because while we are trying to determine, some of us out here, you out there, on what really happened on September 11th, 2001, 16 years ago, and what role, if any, our government played. And while you have hundreds of engineers and hundreds of hours of testimonial and things that people saw that didn't add up, and the Pentagon had to get hit at this all that you're trying to prove and disprove on September 11th, 2001, we don't have to do any of that to prove that our government was directly responsible for the death of 4 people on 9/11/2012. Now, I did not forget that yesterday, but I did not focus on that because I wanted to go a different direction, and I wanted to give direct time to it today. On 9/11, because see, on 9/12, one of the reasons I wanted to do it today and give some direct time today is on 9/12, okay, is when Hillary Clinton, okay, Susan Rice, it's not till after 2012, 2000, and 9/11, 2012, that they go on all the morning shows and lie. Do we have a problem in the booth? Okay. It's not till 2012, 2000, and 9/11, 2012 that they start, the next day, the 12th, that they start really going out and selling the lie. You see, 4 people asked. We have all the documents. We have the phone calls. We have the transcripts. We have the everything necessary to prosecute Hillary Rodham Clinton and Susan Rice. And I have to say, that's my candid, that's why, for everybody that questions 9/11/2001, I know it upsets some people when I say it. Hillary Clinton should be in prison today. On that day, Ambassador, do you have the picture of those 4? Go ahead and put that up. 4 Americans were killed in Benghazi. Okay? Ambassador Christopher Stevens, supposedly a friend of Hillary Clinton's, Christopher Stevens. Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, and Glenn Doherty. 4 Americans. 4 Americans that in plenty of time asked for help. 4 Americans that asked to be saved. 4 Americans they drug. Find it. I don't care how graphic it is. Find me a picture of Stevens being drugged through the streets of Libya, our U.S. ambassador. You see, they drug Stevens through the streets of Benghazi again, and claimed they were trying to get him to a hospital, knowing that was a lie. All right? Knowing it. And they begged for help. They asked to be rescued. We had Marines, my understanding. We had the people. We had the security units that could go in a timely manner. But Hillary Clinton did not want to upset. Remember the comment that we didn't want to upset and make the riot or the overthrow of Gaddafi any worse by us wearing military uniforms? Is that one of the things? Remember? So yesterday on 9/11/2001, that's it. That's Chris Stevens. That's your ambassador. I'm sorry to be so graphic, because let me tell you what you don't have, folks. And I am so sorry to go this direction, But let me tell you what you don't have. On 9/11/2001, you don't have people picking up bodies and dragging them through the streets like that. Okay? But that is 9/11/2012. And they're dragging our U.S. Ambassador, Chris Stevens, through the streets as Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice are crafting the lies for the Obama administration, for you, the American people. Crafting the lies. They should be in prison. So while you're trying to find out what you are looking for, the truth on 9/11/2001, while you're trying to do that, okay? What is that, Richie? I can't see it from here. What picture is that?
That's Susan Rice when she went on the Sunday shows and told
is that all of them? Is that
told us it was a video.
Yeah. Do you have a video of that lie? I mean, you don't have to get it.
I'm sure I can track one down.
Just a real quick lie. But anyhow, and the reason I wanted to do this is for a reason. Is yesterday, 9/11, President Trump went to New York, and it's emotional for President Trump. He's from there. It's very emotional. Now, I'm not from New York City. I worked in New York City. I used to go to New York City. There was times where I went every day for a month to New York City. So, and there was times where I didn't go for 3 months. But I was always around the city, always around people in the city, and watched the New York news every night. So it's very emotional for me every time I see the skyline. And I'll never forget when Lisa and I went and visited we went to Ground Zero. And I'll never forget looking in that hole. And then I'll never forget looking across the street at the station and the fire truck. I have that picture somewhere. The fire truck, and I forget the station, right across the street from Ground Zero. And they had the fire truck, and it's all painted. It's got the eagle. It's beautiful all the way down through there. And this truck I walked up to, and I have the picture somewhere, had all of the first responders from that station's names that died that day written on the side of that fire truck. I just can't. I don't want to get. And I asked the guy if I could look at the truck, and he said yes, and showed me the truck, told me all about it, talked to me about that day, what it was like there. And let me get past that. But while you're out there looking for the answers to 9/11/2001, we know the answers to 9/11/2012. And people should be in prison. That's my opinion. So go. You got that, Richie? Do you have yeah? Let's play that real quick and remind you of Susan Rice lying to the American people on behalf of. Go ahead, Richie. On behalf of.
He says that this is something that's been in the planning stages for months. I understand you have been saying that you think it was spontaneous. Are we not on the same page here?
Well, Bob, let me tell you what we understand to be the assessment at present. First of all, very importantly, as you discussed with the president, there is an investigation that the United States government will launch, led by the FBI. That has begun.
But they're not there.
They're not on the ground yet, but they have already begun looking at all sorts of evidence of various sorts already available to them and to us. And they will get on the ground and continue the investigation. So we'll want to see the results of that investigation to draw any definitive conclusions. But based on the best information we have to date, what our assessment is as of the present is in fact what it began spontaneously in Benghazi as a reaction to what had transpired some hours earlier in Cairo, where, of course, as you know, there was a violent protest outside of our embassy sparked by this hateful video. But soon after that spontaneous protest began outside of our consulate in Benghazi, we believe that it looks like extremist elements, individuals joined in that effort with heavy weapons of the sort that are unfortunately readily now available in Libya post-revolution, and that it spun from there into something much, much more violent.
Do you do?
Now, Bob Schieffer says that we understand this was planned in the making for some time. This was a a plan that they have been putting together for some time. No, it just happened. Because see, if she would have accepted it was a plan in the making for some time, right? Then the calls for help may have been more valid than go ahead, Richie.
All along, I've done a lot of research into this. I think all along, we're less than 2 months out from a presidential election, and that was the reason behind the lies. But also, something I just caught for the first time, there were heavy weapons, unfortunately, available. You know, guns are bad. Who sold the guns to Libya? We now know who did that.
Well, okay, we now know who did that. We're going to leave that there because that is an end point, because we now know who did that. So like I said, not to go back again for the 80th time, if you're still looking for 9/11/2001, guess what? In 9/11/2012, we now know who did that. We know it was our government lied to us. Obama, they crafted a story. They sat down and lied to you. These people drug our ambassador through the street. I'm sorry that we did not recognize you yesterday, but I wanted to be able to do a full segment, and I wanted to reiterate for everybody out there, there are multiple reasons, and I don't say this lightly. It's not like lock her up. I'm not at a rally. I'm not cheering for somebody to get elected. I'm looking at the camera and I'm telling you there are multiple reasons to lock this woman up. Hillary Clinton should be in prison along with several of her friends. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and I want to talk about John Kelly. And we'll talk about General John Kelly. Take us to break, Richie.